Welcome to episode 28 of the Chitownshoot Wrestling Podcast. I'm Marcin, and joining me in the squared circle are Chris, David, and Andres. We're coming at you from the heart of the wrestling world, Chicago, Illinois, bringing you the latest news, hottest takes, and all things WWE and AEW. Questions or thoughts, send them over to chitownshootpodcast at gmail.com. Without further ado, I should say, let's get into it. And as always, I want to ask how everyone's week is going. David, what's new with you?
New president.
Well, besides that, I guess.
Inauguration day.
Aliens. Eggs.
Aliens.
Oh yeah, the eggs. The balloon with a face mask over it.
Played Rivals with Chris. Played a lot of Rivals with Chris since the last episode.
That's true.
That'd be in the new category. Just got Punisher 2099 skin.
How did your guys' stream go the other night? I didn't get a chance to catch it.
Rage.
Not a lot of wrestling.
Not too much wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys win at least a couple?
Yeah.
On a few. A streak of losses. I played right before.
Does Marvel Rivals do they show you the record, like how many losses or wins? Because I know that some games now don't really do that anymore, like wins and losses. Does it show?
Was AEW?
Yeah.
Wins and losses matter?
Guess it doesn't. Well, what about you, Chris? Besides Marvel Rivals, what's new with you?
Finally took.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like the Polish tradition is always doing it like February. Apparently, I think my parents just use that as an excuse because they don't want to take it down because they're a little lazy. But
Until April.
Yeah. No.
Early March. Yeah, we took it down this past week. Well, Patrick did because I was in Arizona for my main job, Innovations and Technology Conference, and was talking all about AI and legal aid and how to implement the technology, the ethics of it. A lot of panels, basically. It's like a 3-day convention with speakers from different organizations, and they kind of offer their thoughts or opinions. Like they create topics. So it's like AI and, the legal aid or the legal user, how you can actively use tools like AI to, better speed up your work process, especially if you work in a nonprofit with limited capacity. So they were offering some interesting, insights and things like that. And of course, while I was there, I watched Monday Night Raw in my hotel. I thought it was a pretty great episode. I gotta say. I think that was the week Penta was last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. I mean, I gotta say, and we did clip that specific. Is it Canadian Destroyer? I mean, does it just depend on what country that person is from, or is it just called universally a Canadian Destroyer?
I think depending who.
Yeah.
They called it a Mexican.
Amazing Red, I believe, calls it a Code Red.
Yeah. So, I mean, great first match, a great debut, and of course, everyone is giving Chad Gable his flowers because it takes two to tangle in wrestling, and he really made Penta look like $1 million. And that promo from Penta at the end of the match, I mean, I think that was probably the highlight, like just the passion that was just emanating from his promo. He said it in English and in Spanish. Really good. Feel good. He had his family at the front row. I think his daughter was crying almost nonstop when he came in and when he won. Waterworks were on, but I mean, it just added to it, And he just really fits. I feel like it just works, like seeing Penta WWE. It's surreal, but it also feels right, And his merch is pretty sick, I gotta say. Like his first T-shirt that they came out, that looks pretty sick. I kind of want to get it.
I want a mask.
Yeah, that mask looks sick too.
Wonder if
Good quality.
Gonna try to book.
That's a good question. I mean, we'll see because we're recording while Raw's playing, and he's supposed to have a match tonight as well. So we'll see. Andres, what about you? What's new with you?
Nothing much. Just freezing my balls off today.
Yeah, for those who don't know, we are in Chicago, hence Chi-Town Shoot, and it's like 5 degrees right now, give or take. Did any of you guys do that water drip thing? So you don't bust your pipes, or is it just me?
I do it.
Talking about it last night, David. Well, I should.
Yep. Like people, like some folks I've talked to were like, that's not really a thing you need to do. But I remember when I was at Chris Powell's, who's another Chris. We used to write for Megavisions together at his house. His pipes burst in the basement, and it was basically like leaking. And that's not something I want to deal with. I have enough expenses, so I'm gonna make sure I also set the drip to start tonight too, because it's supposed to get even lower on Tuesday.
Great.
So I think it'd be a good idea for us to start that drip. But without further ado, I think that's enough of our updates. Let's jump into the first topic. And this is a news story that popped up in the past week or so. And I feel like Bad Bunny has had these conversations. I mean, he has them consistently because he is a big fan of WWE and wrestling in general. And again, one of my favorite. I mean, I don't want to call him a celebrity wrestler, but technically that's what he is until he signs full time. Like, I feel like Logan Paul I can call a wrestler because he has an actual, contract and all that. But anyway, he recently was interviewed with Rolling Stone, and Bad Bunny, who's I think he's around our age, he's like 30. He said he's prepared to return to the WWE ring despite his mother's concerns. He said he wants to compete again even after his 4 previous appearances. I didn't realize it was 4. So he said, I want to do it one more time. I want to put my life at risk in the ring. I felt like I didn't risk it enough in the ring, and I want to do it. I want to scare my mother. When? I don't know. He said, we stay in contact with the people at WWE. We're always paying attention to what's going on. But when, I don't know, I hope there's a time where I can really get ready like I did the last few times. And I'd love to take more time to get ready physically. But man, just like in music, I do this to get better and to do something different. Sometimes I say I'm going to quit everything and just do wrestling full time. I feel like in wrestling, I just go sporadically as a celebrity. I'm going to go full time and be a heel. That's what I love. I was always a fan of the villains more than the good guys. Now, with that, what do you guys think of Bad Bunny and his performances? For those of you who have seen his 4 appearances, what do you think of Bad Bunny in WWE? Would you want him to come back and do another match? David?
I feel like he has the track record to be welcome back. So,
yeah.
Like, I definitely think, I think that he'll continue to knock it out. Like, he did stay at the Performance Center for a while for his first match. I think it was like 4 months. He did like a whole camp, just being a wrestler. So he kind of knows what he has to do, and it's resource wise, he has the resources, and so does WWE. For somebody like him to be able to come in and maybe not do all the house shows, but knock out a couple house shows. I mean, it'd sell out a house show in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think of his matches, the ones that you've seen?
I think each one he got progressively better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Backlash match in Puerto Rico, a really good example of he can actually do it. That's not an easy match to put together.
That was the last one, right?
Yeah. Just being able to knock out all those spots, and even That's a lot of like high impact for somebody that doesn't do this.
Right.
But even be able to go like 25, 30 minutes interference or not, like
Yeah,
he
I mean, we
cooked
had
there during the
Coda
match.
Hernandez, who's the current freelance legacy champion. It's a local indie wrestling or company. I mean, he describes how it feels to slam your back on the ground and just the impact and what it feels like when you're, when you're training for the first time. I mean, I can't imagine, like you have this global superstar who is in the top like 5 to top 10 like singers on Apple Music and Spotify at any given time in the past. I'm gonna say, I mean, is it a decade? I feel like he's been around for quite a
Close
bit.
to it, yeah.
Yeah, at this point, he's been around for a decade. I mean, he doesn't have to do this. Like, just that description of like the training and what you have to go through. Like, this man is making millions and millions and millions of dollars. He doesn't have to do this, but he chooses to. And clearly, he wants to take it to the next step. And he says he wants to scare his mother. I mean, God bless him. If he feels like he wants to do something crazy like a Shane McMahon off a Hell in a Cell to an announcer table, or, I mean, I don't know, get hit with more weapons and things in more creative ways. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, good television. And I hope he gets the right training. And I guess if you're injured and you can't move, I mean, you still have your voice, so it's not like you have to move. So I don't know. But Chris, what about you? What do you think of Bad Bunny, his matches? Do you think it's a good idea? Would you want to see him again?
I imagine there's some kind of a behind the scenes that him, because I mean, like, just him being a pop star. Stars benefit WWE have a person like say he wants to do time thing or just
So he's mused the idea of like quitting everything and just wrestling full time.
imagine
I could see it.
imagine Logan Paul versus what bizarro world.
I'd see that. I'd pay to see that. I know there's like this purity test and all that kind of stuff, but if you're like Logan Paul does put in the work too, and so does Bad Bunny. It's not like, a Snooki or a who's the guy who said Summerfest? Either way, I think he was in Superbad. Oh, but Jeremy Piven, I think that's what his name was. And like people who just come in to get a paycheck, do a crossbody, don't even know the product because they literally don't know the name of like one of the biggest shows of the year. Like that, I can understand the complaints and people complaining about it. But when it comes to like these two specifically, it almost feels like celebrity involvement has like evolved a bit in wrestling in general. Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, like these feel like back to back in this era. Like there hasn't been that kind of celebrity, I feel like, who takes this so seriously ever. I don't think, like you have like appearances from like Mike Tyson and that kind of stuff. I think he had a tag team match, if I remember correctly, in like 2018 or something. And I mean, he was obviously a special guest referee and all that stuff. But I mean, this is a different beast. This is like we're involved in storylines. We're there for the long haul. We make multiple appearances. They keep coming back. I think. I mean, I would be happy to see Bad Bunny wrestling again and, make it full time. Screw it. If you feel like your creative juices, you can maybe like take a break out in music and then do this for like a year or 2 or 3, do a short term contract, go back to music, or hell yeah, I mean, maybe you'll come up with something interesting while you're wrestling, if you have writer's block. I mean, the world's his oyster. He can do whatever he wants.
Chris
Honestly.
Jericho does it on a smaller scale.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's on a much smaller scale, but he does it on cruise ships and bingo halls. But I mean, Chris Jericho. Yeah, I mean, but he was he's like you said, balancing it. Yes, Chris Jericho does that. Obviously, he was a wrestler first, and then he was interested in becoming a rock star and all that fun stuff. And Judas is a good song. I mean, can't deny that. But yeah,
The Bad Bunny diagram.
you're talking about like how many fans of Bad Bunny are also wrestling fans?
Yeah.
Like almost
I
a
wonder-
full circle.
You think so?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlap.
yeah.
Because I was just curious, like how many new.
I'm sure there's some. I think I think there's like the morbid curiosity crowd where they're like, I like Bad Bunny, and what he's gonna be wrestling in Puerto Rico or whatever in a hardcore match. I'm just gonna check it out. And then I'm sure there's some who retain that level of interest and then keep watching. But I don't know. I think maybe David, you're right. Maybe it's a pretty big. If we look at a Venn diagram, that middle part might be pretty big. I also think he probably does bring in some new fans, and that morbid curiosity, I think, travels with him too. Because I mean, his fan base is huge. Like globally, he gets listened. He gets listened to a lot, so he reaches a lot of people. So it benefits him because he's living out like his boyhood dream, and WWE because look at all the new eyeballs and the prestige, because it's not like, oh, here's Kid Rock coming out, like look who we have for WrestleMania. Like this is like premier prestige, you know what I mean? Like it's a different ball game. So more of
It's
that.
kind of like if they would have gotten like Michael Jackson in the
Exactly. It's the equivalent of like Michael Jackson, like
Literally
just
had that
wrestling full
or
time.
Santana Jackson.
Yeah, we got Santana Jackson. Yeah, I mean that's a great point. It's literally like that level right now. So, what about you, Andres? Thoughts on Bad Bunny? What do you think? You want to see him again in a ring?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like I honestly only seen the other match of his when he was in Puerto Rico when we saw that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But I was like very impressed. I was not expecting him to basically be like one of the best performers, like that's not a wrestler, but actually wrestling and do like such an amazing job. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
No, he can throw down, and to hear that he does all the work and stuff, and he's that big of a fan. He's super passionate. Like he can definitely bring a lot to the business. And like we were talking, like the crossover of the fans, maybe people just tune in just to watch to see him, and then end up leveling the entire show, and then becoming fans of wrestling as well. So no, I'd definitely be interested to see him. He might even be at the Rumble for all we know.
Now I mentioned
Oh, cool.
his dedication being pretty unique when it comes to celebrities and celebrity involvement. Can you guys think of anybody besides Logan Paul who has that kind of commitment to wrestling? Is there anyone who matches that enthusiasm and involvement?
David Arquette, baby. Was in
Well,
indie.
Yeah, I'd say he did do an indie run, and it was
That's true.
later. Yeah,
That's true. I guess that's a good point. I mean, like when he was doing it's called Ready to Rumble, the
yeah.
movie? Yeah. So he was actually a wrestling fan, right? Or
Oh yeah.
so I mean, he's
that was a shoot. That when he freaked out in the movie, that was a shoot.
I mean that's a good point. I guess that's one unique example. Was there anybody else? I guess
Guy in the 80s.
oh, you're talking about that one who's basically like living kayfabe his whole life. The one who fought Jerry Lawler.
Oh, Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. There you go. Yeah. I don't know if it was the 80s. I think it might have been the 70s, right? Something like that.
Does the Miz count?
Yeah, a while ago. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's another good one because I guess
star
that
turned wrestler,
who?
the Miz.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess that would be considered celebrity because like
He's the A-lister. What are we talking about?
when I came back in 2006, like I just saw him as a wrestler. Like I didn't know his background or anything like that. So like I just saw him as a wrestler first. But I guess if you have that context of him being in the real world, and I mean it was like a season, like a season of the real world. I mean,
He got that MTV cheese when it was good, man.
yeah, they churned it out. Like I think his episode was like, or season was like what 2000, 2001 or something like that. So
That's peak.
yeah, that is peak. So yeah, that's fair.
My
But like
uncle
I
knows
feel
who
like
he is because of
yeah,
that.
I mean he made it a full-time career. I'll give it to you because I'm like debating like, does he count as a celebrity? Yeah, I guess so.
He's a A-lister.
Reality show guy, Flava Flav, Flavor of Love. I mean, Nikki and Brie Bella. I mean, they became reality stars after they were wrestlers, right? That's not the same thing.
What if we go back like really far back? Like, what about Mr. T? He wrestled, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, but
Hogan?
well, I guess I'm
He was like,
asking in terms of dedication. So, do you know how I mentioned one-offs? Like, I guess Mr. T had that tag team match, but I don't know. Like, in terms of his dedication and enthusiasm for the product, I mean, I'm uneducated about Mr. T's, like, passion for it. I don't know, like, because, like, for me, I thought I treated him like, other celebrities who were involved, but it's not like, he grew up watching it or he just liked the the whole song and dance of the whole thing.
Arnold.
Like
Mickey Rourke?
if we had a tier list, I wouldn't put him on the same tier as Bad Bunny or Logan Paul. Let's throw the Miz in there because I mean I guess so. Yeah, who'd you mention, Chris?
Arquette.
I said,
Just now. You just forgot in 10 seconds. Someone catch the replay. Do we have a replay button? But I mean, that's pretty good. Those are some good examples. I totally forgot about David Arquette. And again, like, and this he did like indie stuff like recently, right? Like not that long ago.
Yeah.
I don't think. Freddie Prinze Jr. also is a pretty big fan. I don't know. Did he do any wrestling? I don't know if he did.
Writer.
What's that?
He's a writer.
Oh, he's a writer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he still is, but I definitely know that he wrote for them and he was involved in a lot of like announcing broadcast side of WWE, producing stuff. So he's another one who's like that generation, like David Arquette, who is a big fan of wrestling,
I said,
which
Mickey
is always cool to see. Oh, Mickey Rourke, yeah, yeah. I still wouldn't put him as like a Bad Bunny tier. I think he appreciates the craft because I mean he was in a movie called The Wrestler and he had to understand and learn the product and what goes into it and that kind of stuff. I don't know if he was always a fan. I think he developed appreciation for it during the movie. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe someone in the comment section can correct me, but I still wouldn't put him in that same category because he wanted to wrestle, and then I think his agent said he shouldn't because it would affect his Academy Award or Golden Globe chances, and he didn't do it. He did. I think he got it and got like a punch into Jericho, but I don't think he actually did the match. I don't think.
was it
Oh,
Well,
Stephen Amell.
he did have an indie run to it. Yeah, I don't know if he's still
That's true, and he was doing stuff with AEW as well. He does stuff with WWE. So wrestling in general, I think he's a pretty big fan. I think he was also on Heels.
Cody.
He's in that show Heels, wasn't he? That I think is on Netflix. They did for like 2 seasons and then they canceled it. But that's another good one.
CM Punk.
Yep. I might actually watch it because I just saw it on Netflix the other day. But
Think
good
he did
examples.
too.
Good examples. So there was another thing that he talked about wanting to be a heel. Do you think that could work for Bad Bunny as a heel? I don't even know what that would look like.
he have
Took
to
a
surround
lot.
himself with
That's scum. It,
Entourage.
bottom of the barrel heels. Yeah.
Somebody like that, some kind of a weird.
What do you think? What do you think you'd be like a chicken shit or like a Triple H, like
Yeah,
like heel? Yeah. So do you think he could pull it off if he wants to be a heel? Do you think he'd be successful in doing something like that?
how good is English?
That's perfect. He's a
Exactly.
bad guy.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing it. I mean, there are plenty of people who I didn't think can pull off being a good heel, like Kofi Kingston. I got proven wrong about that recently. That they're literally like money. Like I just saw their Raw stuff that they did. He has a match with Rey Mysterio. You guys can watch it. Yeah, today. And JBL is on commentary.
I'm sure he's happy about today.
Well, Rey Mysterio is also the one who retired JBL, so like they made it a whole thing segment. But yeah, definitely watch that whole segment. Now with the beauty of Netflix, you can just fast forward to it, and when it's done recording, you don't get the ads; they all disappear if you catch the replay. So I think we could end that there, and we can move on to our main segment, which is the Royal Rumble. It's coming up on February 1st in Indianapolis, and I think it's one of, if not my favorite wrestling event of the year, because it's always fun to see who shows up, the maneuvers that people do in the match. The energy is always great. And I always, it's just a good time. And then we also do our own little lottery thing, so the stakes get increased too a little bit, because there's money on the line. So it adds another layer. No, we're not betting cryptocurrency this year.
Unless it's Bitcoin.
Yeah, is
One more
Bitcoin? Are people doing Bitcoin like betting on the Rumble?
Or something.
Us.
Us. You.
No, us.
Do we
Don't
need like
worry.
a specific wallet or something? Like, not doesn't everyone need
We'll
like
figure it out.
We'll figure it out afterwards.
Yeah, off the air. We'll figure
That's
it
how
out.
we roll. We're more of an ideas kind of guy. So Royal Rumble. I mean, what do you guys like the Rumble? Where would the event rank in your list of shows in a 12-year calendar? Would it be pretty up there?
Oh yeah,
Top 3.
yeah. He's me.
Top 3 for sure. What's the other two? Now that I put you in a top 3 pigeonhole. WrestleMania.
Mania and
All In.
All in. Yeah.
All right.
All out. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. I don't know. And I confuse myself. I don't know which one's the bigger one. All In is the bigger one. But All Out seems to always be in Chicago recently. No.
Yeah, it's always been its thing, and it's always really good.
Yeah.
We're
So
good. All Out.
definitely
Sure,
Rumble top 3.
A WWE event that's overlapping. I read last week.
Oh,
That's kind of like around Money in the Bank / SummerSlam time.
I think they might have added like maybe it's a Saturday Night's Main Event or something like that. They might have like added another one, a special or something. I don't think it's a PLE. That should be interesting. It'd be funnier if they also did it in Texas. But we can talk about that in a future episode. So this Royal Rumble topic, I want to focus on the actual winners of the Royal Rumble. So we've had the Royal Rumble for 35 years, 36 years, something like that. I'm not going to include the greatest Royal Rumble because it feels like a multiverse. It doesn't feel canon to me, so I'm not going to include the greatest Royal Rumble. If you guys are thinking about, winners and that kind of stuff. So I want to focus on, the 30 plus years of the Royal Rumble. The women's Royal Rumble obviously started in 2018. with Asuka as the first inaugural Royal Rumble winner. And I kind of want to go segment by segment. That's how I've broken it down. We'll talk about, defining success. We'll talk about standout winners. Who do you think had the most successful career after a Rumble? We'll talk about controversies and, when a Rumble win didn't work out as expected. Which Rumble winner would you consider to be in that category? I also want to talk about underdogs or comeback stories. People weren't planning on having that person winning. Maybe they were in the conversation, but you weren't really sure until it actually happened. And also fantasy booking and what ifs. That's what we'll end, I think, this segment on. So we'll start with, defining the success after a Royal Rumble. What do you think about the Royal Rumble as a whole? Do you feel like when you look at a superstar's legacy, do you feel like a Royal Rumble win helps shape that legacy? Do you think it's an important part if you do win it?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know if it guarantees. I mean, I'd like to see on the Royal. It's pretty good, right?
It also depends on,
Yeah.
because initially at the beginning it was kind of like there weren't any real stakes, like the Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Big John Studd or whatever his name is the second one. I don't know if they had any incentives. It was just kind of like a battle royal, and I think it got pretty more prestigious when Hogan won the Rumble. But I think there was a decent mix of winners and losers when it comes to Rumble. We can talk about that later, but you can finish your thought.
I would say it's especially in today and the
Mm-hmm.
person potentially, right?
Yeah.
And especially if it's like a person who they happen to. And like, there's some predictability, like kind of like bag of people. Definitely lengthen.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, and it's your comment about like the predictability. I think now, and we keep talking about this in terms of the sheer crop of superstars that I feel like is pretty viable to win. I feel like there's a good 10, 12 people who can actually win the Rumble and it be believable. In this era, during the 2010s and early 2000 or mid 2000s, I feel like that was a bit smaller. Um, David, what about you? What do you think about the Royal Rumble? Do you feel like the Royal Rumble is still as significant in a wrestler's career today as it was in the past?
I'm going down the list, and I'd say yeah. Um, I think the only winners in the only winners in the last, we'll say 20 years, so we don't
Mhm.
have to say Vinnie Mac. We'll cut it off. We'll say after Vinnie Mac. Uh, Other than 2004, the only other person that it didn't do anything for was Alberto Del Rio, and that's his fault.
Yeah. I mean, I would also kind of put Sheamus in that realm too, and he was like the one right after that because his win was his win was a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship against Daniel Bryan, and that was like 13 seconds. I think it was also the opening match at WrestleMania 28, and yeah, kicked it, won the belt. I don't like done for his career. I don't know because I felt like after Sheamus won the belt, just looking at his career between that win and then now, I feel like he had a resurgence now. So like after that Rumble win, he didn't have a sustained like top list like superstar type thing. Kind of like I would like
He's
on the
still
other
on
hand,
the
like a Drew
top.
McIntyre who won in 2020. I feel like he stayed up there in some form or fashion for the last 5 years. But Sheamus has kind of had like this peak and valley, in my opinion. But
He
I
won
guess
the Money in the Bank in between that.
Sheamus,
Yeah, and then you remember because he cashed in on Roman.
I guess that's true.
Burger after burger.
And
So
there he kind of fell off.
that's true. Yeah, because he had some of like these tag teams with
Cesaro.
Castagnoli, or what was
Bar
he?
was good.
What was it? Do you think it was main event? What was Castagnoli's?
The bar ruined the New Day streak.
I guess they did. That's true. Well, I guess like when I'm thinking like world title
Oh,
kind of stuff.
like
you know?
staying up there.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
then,
staying
yeah.
up there.
All right, then I guess.
But yeah, I mean, I guess
Shinsuke Nakamura, he won in
Oh.
2018, right? But like,
Yeah.
what like, he didn't really have like, yeah.
yeah, I mean that's gonna be one that I want to definitely mention in the next category. But I guess Andres, since I got you on the microphone, do you feel like the Royal Rumble is still as important as it was in the past?
Yeah, I definitely say so. I mean, it's creating more storylines for you, putting you in the spotlight, and you're going to be going for the title and what you can pick now, right? Nowadays, too, or the last like 10 years, you were able to pick the titles before. Like, 'cause before there was just like the one.
Yeah.
You're automatically in line for it. Now you can pick which one you want to go to. But no, I definitely say, like, even going through the list of the Royal Rumble winners, I mean, these are all Hall of Famers in their own right, too. So it's obviously a big thing to say that, you win the Rumble and then you get your WrestleMania moment, win or lose.
Mm-hmm. So we can go into the standouts, the people who we feel were like the most successful or surprising winners, and I'll just kind of go around the circle because it might just be easier to answer that way. So who do you think had the most successful career after winning the Royal Rumble? I'm going to say, and I'll start, and then I'll just go around. I'm going to say Shawn Michaels. I think Shawn Michaels, he had the back-to-back Rumble wins. I think it was 95 and 96. Now, the Rumbles themselves weren't necessarily that great, but I feel like it put Shawn Michaels in that like upper echelon after he won the title off of Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12. He basically kind of stayed up in that title picture until he broke his back, came back, was in the title picture again. And I mean, he basically never left. He had some kind of, he was in that upper echelon pretty consistently. And he's treated like a legend, and he's called Mr. WrestleMania, and some people even call him Mr. Royal Rumble. And that can't happen without him having good performances throughout all of these the Royal Rumbles that he was involved in. So I definitely would give it to Shawn Michaels. What about you, Chris? Who do you think had the most successful career after winning the Rumble, and why?
I would say I'm gonna throw that mid pretty good. Or
2005.
was that the year where he?
Yeah, that was the breaking up with Evolution, because the story was basically he wins 2005 and then he's in Evolution and he's choosing which title to go for, and Triple H is like, "Hey, you can go to SmackDown or whatever," and
He's like that dumb idiot Dave. He's gonna go to SmackDown.
Yeah, he's just talking all loud, standing right outside of the room. I feel like they've done that like with Bailey and all these people. Like that's a plot device they like to use a lot, but I feel like that makes the other people look like idiots.
Is that the same one where him and Cena fell out at the same time?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
that was a mistake.
yeah.
I think Logan Paul might have asked John Cena about that on his podcast. But yeah, I think I think they were trying to scramble, and the referee was like raising Batista's hand. He's like, "Oh yeah, you went," and then I think the SmackDown one was like trying to like raise John Cena's to like look creative, like, "Oh yeah, both him did," and then they rolled back inside, and then Vince just like told the announcers like, "Oh, Vince declares that, we're restarting the match, and then they did a quick, flip, tossed Cena out of the ring. But yeah, Batista's a good one for sure.
He added
yeah.
prestige, taking out
The reign of terror.
That's true. I feel like he really kind of cemented himself as like being part of that. I mean, he literally was, for me, like when I got back into wrestling in like 2006, and 2005, 2006, like he felt like he was the SmackDown like big top guy with the Undertaker and like Rey Mysterio and those ilk. Like he was that top guy, and he just looks good wearing that big gold belt. I feel like,
And
That's a world heavyweight, boy. That's a heavyweight.
Yeah, he's legit world heavyweight. David, what about you? Who do you think had the most successful career after
Stone
winning the
Cold.
Rumble? Stone Cold, yeah. Is he the only one who won 3 Rumbles? Did anyone else win 3 Rumbles? Hogan?
I think Stone Cold's the only one, I believe.
Triple H.
Triple H has 2.
Triple H 2, because Triple H was 2002 and 2016. That's another crazy statistic.
That was a surprise one.
Yeah, he was like in between. It's like 14 years in between Rumble wins, and that the 2016 one was it was for a championship match, and this was like peak. We don't want to see Roman Reigns on TV. I mean, 2015
Triple H.
Yeah, exactly. So like, let's give it a Triple H. But people actually liked it because they just didn't like Roman that much, even though that was also a wild decision because there were plenty of other people you could have given it to. Wasn't that the same Rumble that AJ Styles debuted in, I think, 2016? Yeah. That's the one that we were at James Telcam's, I think,
that's the
with
one
the Christian's belt.
Yeah.
What it's going to be, though, it's going to be John.
You think so this year?
Sure is.
Oh, so Stone Cold Steve Austin, David, why Steve Austin?
I think building that Stone Cold character in a type of match like the Rumble just like worked perfect.
Yep.
Because it's like after that, his thing was always clearing out the ring, no problem, Yep.
And I mean, his third win, I think, in 2001. I mean, that was probably his most iconic like Rumble win, because it also led to that great match between him and The Rock, minus the heel turn at the end. But the WrestleMania 17, I think, in a lot of people's minds, is very iconic. So I think well deserved. And yeah, 3 Rumble wins. I mean, we have like some back-to-backs. Cody Rhodes got back-to-back. HBK got back-to-back. Steve Austin did back-to-back too. He did 97, 98. Even though I think there was some controversy about his 97 win. I think Bret Hart was supposed to win, but somehow he won.
He's like,
I don't know.
Oh, he's sitting in a turnbuckle? Yeah.
No, one of the Rumbles he's doing like this when he's waiting for the other people to come in. Yeah.
Bret Hart comes in.
Yeah, and his music plays and he does, yeah.
Well, that's that 97 one. I mean, that's because he didn't get a title shot, right? He ended up facing Bret at WrestleMania 13, even though he won the Rumble in 97. And I forgot what shenanigans happened between the Rumble and WrestleMania. But yeah, that's a good one. Andres, what about you? Who is your most successful? Who had the most successful career after winning the Rumble?
Going with what David said, I mean, it's gotta be Stone Cold. Like, it basically solidified his character and like recreating probably one of the greatest rivals in wrestling history, with him main eventing against The Rock 3 times. So like to me, Stone Cold had like the biggest beneficial win going through the Rumbles and stuff. And he actually, I was looking, he almost won 3 in a row. Actually, like he got 3, but in '99 is when he got. Vince McMahon screwed him over, yeah. So he would have probably had 4 even. But no, I'd say Stone Cold definitely benefited, because once he got past Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, and then he was rivaling with The Rock, it was just magic.
That's a good one. I mean, no one can deny Steve Austin being probably the best the biggest recipient of like prestige and just like career highs, and also just a great overall Royal Rumble performer as a whole.
Mhm.
All right, what do you think? Do you feel like there were any one-hit wonders who won the Rumble and then just kind of fizzled out? And I'll start. And you mentioned Alberto Del Rio, and that was going to be my answer to this because I mean, living through that era. I mean, the WrestleMania 27 is probably one of the least favorite WrestleManias in general. That was the one where Miz uh, main evented with John Cena. He got concussed. I think he retained, but he doesn't remember any of it. That was when I think The Rock hosted WrestleMania, so he didn't wrestle or anything. You had the I think it was Jerry Lawler versus Michael Cole match. I mean, there was a series of some stinkers on there. Minus, I would say, I think the Undertaker match was good, but I mean, Del Rio won it. That Rumble win wasn't that great in terms of his actual eliminations and all that kind of stuff, and also his I think he lost his WrestleMania match. So I mean, and then he also didn't really recover. He didn't even recover like career wise after that. I feel like he got relegated to the mid card. So
And then
I mean, John Cena ate him for lunch. Basically, they fed him to John Cena.
Then he tried to come back and beat the Cena for that U.S. title back when that was a thing.
Yeah,
He did that and won, and then it just.
yeah.
Well, he
Then,
was part of the League of Nations with Sheamus.
well, yeah, but that I considered that like a job spot at the time.
Sheamus, Rusev.
Yeah,
And
basically.
No, they're a little better. They had belts.
Yeah, Del Rio. So yeah, I mean that's what I feel. I feel like Del Rio was definitely a one-hit wonder. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Chris, who do you think is a one-hit wonder?
either
Benoit.
and I'd say Benoit because I mean he had a little stint, but
So, well, so this is 2004. So this is that. I mean, the actual story with Benoit minus the other stuff that happens 3 years later. Like that was great. The Rumble win, the simultaneous like Eddie Guerrero Benoit win in WrestleMania 20. That triple threat match between Shawn Michaels and Triple H was phenomenal.
It's one of the best triple threat matches that you can't ever see.
Oh, 100%. Yes. I rewatched that. That was good. And his actual like Rumble match, like the way he eliminated people was very smart, like just creative.
He went in first too, didn't he?
Was that?
He went in first
I don't know if it was first, but it was definitely early.
or third.
Well, someone look it up. I don't know. But yeah. I feel like you're kind of right because he did win the title, and then I feel like after he lost the belt, he was kind of like a United States champion wrestler, and then they moved him to ECW. And I think did he hold the ECW championship? He might have been trying to wrestle for it that night that he did that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
versus Punk, wasn't it?
yeah.
Nitro.
Punk versus Morrison.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I feel like for him, I mean, I guess it depends on who you ask. Like ECW is a championship belt, but I feel like in a lot of people's minds, ECW felt like the C show. I mean, they even made the belts silver, so like you just kind of make it look second rate,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like he's kind of, you could say it's one hit wonder because he was basically like a solid, I feel like mid carder after that initial title run. So yeah, I'll give it to you. I think some people might argue otherwise, but like a Rumble win itself, yes. But did it sustain? I don't know. David, what about you? You could say also Del Rio because I know you mentioned him, but who do you got?
What was it again? Sorry, I started looking at the list for wouldn't been more.
What winners do you feel were one-hit wonders who won the Rumble?
Oh, yeah, ADR.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
That's
even think
pretty
he should
good.
have won in the first place. I think he's like I think even like if you go down the list, like he's even with the people that won before the Rumble had like a true concept.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just see his name and you just go, huh?
Yeah.
like,
What
like,
about? Here's a controversy. What about
Hmm.
before they like revived his?
See, I wouldn't call it a one-hit wonder because it's not like it didn't go anywhere. Like he was hated, but he was still a top guy, and that top guy,
it wasn't gonna. That didn't stop him.
yeah, that top guy status, like he maintained that top guy status, even if they hated him. It's like John Cena. He got booed and people didn't want it, but he was still the top guy, and people recognized him as that, and it went all the way up to now. So I don't agree with that one.
Shinsuke.
Yes, I would agree. Shinsuke is a one-hit wonder on Royal in terms of the Royal Rumble because of his trajectory about what happened. Like I don't think anyone expected him to win that Rumble, so that was a great surprise. That was the same year that Asuka won. That was the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble. I remember watching that before I stopped watching. I think we watched that WrestleMania 2. But then I stopped watching after that, and then I came back in 2022. But yeah, like Shinsuke won the Royal Rumble, and that was great because people were in that kind of sense of like, oh, WWE doesn't care like who the fans care about, and this felt like like an olive branch for folks. And then and then he was gonna face AJ Styles, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is gonna be like New Japan or Tokyo Dome match, and it'll be so amazing." and the match didn't live up to the hype, and I guess he turned heel, and I feel like he never recovered after that because he had a lot of hype. When did he debut? 2016, I think, in WWE
Yeah,
or on the main roster because I think he might have been in NXT.
he was in NXT for a while.
Yeah. So I mean, either way, like he had this bubbling of popularity in NXT. He went on the main stage. I mean, the whole song. He was like this charismatic guy. It was giving me like Michael Jackson, but just like very athletic kind of thing, And like I felt that, yeah, that I felt that popularity, and then like it felt, after that he wasn't the same in terms of. Like even now, like he's fighting for, the United States Championship, but they've never given him like that real opportunity to be a championship holder like that,
Yeah.
So I feel like I would give it to Shinsuke for sure because it's not what I envisioned for him, if he won a Rumble. It's right where he is right now. He's not in that echelon, so yeah, I'll give him that. Andres, what about you? Who would you say is a one-hit wonder?
I'd probably be like ADR as well, because because it's just kind of like when you like same to David's point, look at the list, you're like a lot of these felt at the time made sense, and then you see him, you're like, oh, like okay, like. But granted, he did have a world title run too, right? Didn't he? After the fact, and then like I remember like Dolph Ziggler cashed in on him.
Yeah, I mean, like he had a title run, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like it just kind of fell off.
After that, it really fell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like being like a huge Ziggler fan when he cashed in on him.
Yeah,
But like after that,
Ziggler, same with
Yeah.
Ziggler. If Ziggler won a Rumble, I would put him in that same category just based on how
yeah,
they
I
booked him.
would so.
I mean, he at least had a TNA run, with the title, so good on him.
Leaving Joe Hendry.
Yeah. And now, I mean, Ziggler might, I think they're just going to call him Nick Nemeth. I mean, he has a chance to show up in WWE too, because didn't Cora Jade or who was popping around TNA and all that?
Yeah, it's Cora Jade.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be really coming hard and fast with like the appearances and stuff, and that I feel like that's pretty exciting. Just having this partnership. There were a couple of people I want to talk about, like in the earlier years of the Royal Rumble. I mentioned Big John Studd because he is definitely a one-hit wonder. He won the second Royal Rumble, I think, after Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hey-oh.
And he won the Rumble. I mean, there was no title opportunity or anything like that. And then he just kind of left the company like in less than a year after he won that. So he won the Rumble, but like nothing happened.
That's
So
all
I
he
would
wanted
consider
to
that,
do.
yeah. Collected his paycheck, moved, and yeah. So and then I wanted to mention Yokozuna. I think I would give that to Yokozuna too because he won the '93 Rumble. And the '93 Rumble is the Royal Rumble leading up to WrestleMania 9, where he faced Bret Hart
And won.
in a kind of match. And then Hogan pinned his ass after that match when Bret Hart got blinded with like baby powder or whatever.
Salt.
From Diddy's closet. Yeah, salt. They said salt, but I think it was
What?
like baby powder. So yeah. And then Yokozuna, I feel like also was just not the same.
He beat Hogan.
He did, but like I feel like he wasn't. He wasn't like that main eventer like after that. You know what I
He's still the
mean?
top guy. But his health got in the way.
Yeah, I think his health got in the way. So I mean, I guess it wouldn't be fair to call him a one-hit wonder, but in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, if I had to compare his career trajectory, barring health conditions, to someone like Steve Austin, HBK, or I don't know. I mean, I guess he had a better career than Del Rio, I would say.
Yeah.
So I guess that's fair.
30 years from now, people will still talk about Yokozuna.
That's true. That's very true.
30 years from now, you hear Alberto Del Rio, you'll think it's your Mexican neighbor.
Yeah. I guess another one was that Rumble where Bret Hart and Lex Luger won at the same time. So Bret Hart, I don't know if he got anything out of it. I feel like he was already kind of a star, but Lex Luger, I feel like didn't get much out of it. So I feel like I would put Lex Luger in a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, that got him a ticket to WCW.
Yeah.
Lex Express, baby.
And even in WCW, he didn't do that much either. Besides, like being one of the first people to show up, like they were coming from WWE. So
with his Brood shirt, it looked like he was in the Brood with that shirt.
So I would definitely put him there. Great. We could move on to the next one. Let's see. Who do you think was the most controversial Rumble winner? And did it affect their career in the long term? So
Del Rio back to back champ with us.
What?
Are you talking about like as your answer, Del Rio?
Right. Answer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Most controversial winner. Oh, I'm trying to be creative here. Yeah.
Roman.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I'm going to give it to Roman Reigns.
Out the building.
Yeah, Roman Reigns 2015, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Even The Rock was like, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then he got upset. So
Hogan.
I'm gonna say Roman Reigns in 2015 for sure. It definitely didn't pan out how WWE. I mean, I feel like WWE should know, but again, I just feel like WWE's creativity, it was all in the mind of Vince McMahon. So a lot of the things, yeah, literally. A lot of the things I feel like again, everything comes and goes through him. So the WWE felt like just Vince McMahon's brain on the television, and I don't know if he just didn't understand why or why not. I'll give it to Roman Reigns. I actually have another one, but Well, I'll say Roman Reigns first. David, do you have another one besides Roman Reigns? I feel like you got a good list.
Controversial.
Yeah. And for you personally, controversial. Like maybe people think they're great. Maybe they also think they suck, but like what's your personal pick?
Usually, I didn't like Brock in 22.
Oh yeah.
Like I felt like that. Like Brock's been in plenty of rumbles, but for whatever reason, I was just like, okay, it's going to.
His 22 win felt like Hogan winning the Rumble in like 92 or 93, where Hulkamania kind of is running out of steam. People were like, all right, yeah, we get it. Brock Lesnar won
Cena
again.
wins, LOL.
Yes, exactly. It was giving Cena wins LOL energy for sure. For sure. All right, Chris, what about you? Like we mentioned Roman Reigns, and maybe it jogged your memory. And also, guys, don't forget the women's Royal Rumbles because there have been at least 5 now. So if you feel like there's one that is controversial as well,
No, all them girls deserved it.
honestly, I mean, like what they had: Asuka, Bailey, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks. I mean, did she must have won one, right? Or did they not give her a Rumble win?
Nope.
Huh. Rhea Ripley.
Charlotte
Bianca Flair.
Belair.
Yeah, Bianca Belair. Oh, there you go. That was another good one that elevated Bianca because I feel like she hasn't, like, even if she was, like I can't really explain it. Like she's in a tag team. She was in a tag team feud with Jade Cargill, but she still feels like a main event person. I can't describe. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, it's kind of like
she still gives main event energy.
like not Hogan, but like
Not Hogan.
in the tag team.
Yeah. And she won what? The
But not
2021 Rumble? Something like that. It was during COVID.
And she had that really good match with Mercedes slash Sasha.
Yeah. That shit was good. Oh, Chris, did you get your controversial pick, or are you gonna say Roman Reigns?
2013 John Cena. It should have been Ryback. God damn it! The big guy should have won.
I mean, John Cena was entering like that. I mean, that was like core Cena wins, LOL, basically.
Super Cena.
I was like,
yeah, that was peaks. I mean, people were saying Cena wins LOL, and I feel like in 2006, 2007 too. Like he just won the title. What 2 years ago? Prior to that, they were already saying like Cena wins LOL.
I think I was still too much in my honeymoon to notice that.
Yeah,
didn't he had both the world heavyweight time when they. Right?
There was a period where they combined them. Yeah.
Yeah.
He also won the 2008 Rumble. Yeah, he also won the 2008 Rumble. Some people say it's controversial, but he's known for it because he was injured, and they said he was going to be out for a year, and then he showed up got healed up in like 4 or 5 months or whatever it was. He did one of these. Got up, did one of these. People were cheering him. No, this was. Are you talking about the 2008?
He's saying the doc.
Oh no, not Thugonomics. The doctors were like, "Yeah, take a Z-Pack, you're good, bro."
Nick Riviera.
Yeah, Dr. Nick said you're good, you're cleared.
He's A-okay.
He's the new AEW doctor. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like in 2008 it was a bit controversial. He like they were cheering him because they're like, "Oh yeah, he's back, yay!" But then they started booing him right after that.
You're like, "Oh shit, he won."
We remember we knew. Yeah,
Boo Earns.
There was always this like kind of like love-hate relationship with Cena. Like people do like him and appreciate him. They just love to hate him because he was that kind of like Hulk Hogan Superman guy. Like, you're a nice guy, did all those Make-A-Wish things. Fuck you.
Hey, I'll make a wish. I wish you would go away.
Can you imagine if that was like one of the Make-A-Wish kids thing? Like, can you just leave? Like, not win? Like, what is he supposed to say? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't grant your wish. But yeah, I mean, so Chris, you're saying 2013 Cena win? That's fair.
Or Vince.
I mean,
But
Vince.
I'll stick with Cena.
I wasn't there for Vince.
Andres, what do you think? Controversial winner.
No, I'm gonna go with Chris's choice too. 2013 John Cena, because I watched that one and I remember that's like when Ryback was like his momentum was like the highest. The whole arena, the online was everyone was backing him.
More.
Yeah.
And they gave it to Cena, and it was like people were so mad. I remember that one. Yeah, they were super mad about that one.
I mean,
I was like indifferent, but like because I didn't really see like that like early 2000s Cena era, unfortunately. So like I kind of came in like not the tail end of it, but I definitely saw the response of the universe to that win of his, and I was like, oh damn, like. Yeah, no, I would say that was pretty controversial. But to be honest, when I saw because the list I have, it says the winners and who they eliminated. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. But then I see that he eliminated Ryback. I'm like, you know what? That's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Because if you put Ryback in that spotlight, I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna probably be bad.
Could have been good.
It could have been. We'll never know.
Ryback versus
Big
The
guy.
Rock.
Ryback versus The Rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 2013. Or wait, what year was? What did you say that was? 2013.
13.
That was the year between The Rock. That was when CM Punk, I think, was facing The Rock at like they had a title match at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, Cena wins." Or did Cena? Did the Rumble happen before, and then the main event was Punk Rock, or did Punk Rock? I don't remember if it was before the Rumble.
I think the title match was the actual main event.
Because people were like, "Yeah, Cena versus Punk too. Let's go."
So people were even more mad because Punk lost to The Rock too. On top of that,
The Rock won. I mean, I feel like
a
bad night.
A bad night for the internet wrestling community.
Yeah, I remember that actually. I do distinctly remember that.
And this was gonna be the sequel then, right? The Rock Cena. That would be Rock Cena 2 at 29, WrestleMania 29. So, I mean, yeah, I would say that's a controversial.
Ryback Punk. Those two multiverses probably both.
Oh man, talk about huge egos, man. That'd be wild.
Imagine that Punk and that Ryback arguing.
Yeah,
about who's going over.
Give it. So that was 20. You said 2013. So I will actually also say 2014, where Batista won again at the Royal Rumble. Well, he came in as a face. He wasn't Blue Tista in the Rumble.
No,
I think
he was Boo Tista.
Yeah, he was Boo Tista. I think Blue Tista showed up
when
later.
he wore the blues.
Yeah, I think but that was when he became a heel, which was the right move because that was amazing when he became a heel. That was perfect. And I think Triple H said that was like right when he was like, "Oh yeah, you go make your movies and you'll come back." And this was like right before Guardians of the Galaxy hit. Never look back, baby.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll give it to controversial Batista because that was like the yes movement. Daniel Bryan should win. This was leading up to WrestleMania 30, and then they did that pivot where Batista became a heel, and they basically inserted Daniel Bryan into the title picture.
You guys want to hear something funny about all of that and all that backlash? That's when I started watching wrestling again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, Batista won the Rumble? I gotta watch Raw.
I got a feeling I don't believe.
And then I had a smart manager at this car wash I worked at, and he was all mad, and I was like, "You want this guy to win? You wanted this guy to win?" And it's like Daniel Bryan.
This goat face looking motherfucker.
He was feuding with the Wyatts. I was like, he's getting his ass kicked every night. What do you care about him for?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So surprising or controversial.
Bautista.
So I feel like this one kind of. I mean, have there been any winners who didn't live up to the expectations set by the Rumble victory? I feel like that was kind of similar to what we talked about earlier.
And yeah.
Okay, let's see. Who do you think is the most underrated Rumble winner when considering their whole career?
Edge.
Underrated. Underrated Rumble winner? Yeah, I could see that. But if you consider their whole entire career, would you say he's underrated?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe. Why do you think?
Underrated.
Why do you think he's underrated? In your opinion?
I don't know if he's is in the same like when you look at podcasts and the top wrestling, it doesn't seem like Edge is in conversation, even if he's had like what I mean. But it's
Yeah.
usually he's not in that.
That's true.
It's usually the John Cena's, Randy Orton, like Edge,
Even Seth Rollins too.
Seth Rollins. I mean, Edge was John Cena. I'd say he made John Cena.
Mm-hmm. I think for my pick, I'm gonna give it to Bailey, who just won this past year in terms of underratedness, because I feel like she's had such a great career, and also she had a great match at this past WrestleMania. It just felt like it was overshadowed by the Cody Rhodes victory, and I feel like her career as a whole. And I think this was also a conversation when she actually won the Rumble, because all of the other horsewomen I feel like have gotten, to me, it felt like Charlotte, Sasha, Banks, and oh my God, Charlotte, Sasha, Becky Lynch. Yeah, I felt like they got more like of an elevated push. You know what I mean? I feel like if we put them all four, like all the four horsewomen, I felt like Bailey would be on the bottom of the list when it comes to like as many achievements or I don't know, awareness like of them. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like Bailey. I was very happy that Bailey won because I felt like she deserved her flowers this past year. And you know what? Yeah, make her back-to-back Rumble winner. I don't give a shit. Give her that prestige too. I feel like she also deserves it. She's a great worker. I really enjoy her as a heel. I feel currently right now they don't know what to do with her as a face. They announced on Raw that she's on Raw now, so I don't know what their plans are for that. But I feel like Bailey as a wrestler, even though she is in the top, I still feel like she's treated not the same, and I feel like she's underrated. I think they also teased Charlotte Flair like this past week, like they were doing some kind of promos for her to come back. So I feel like maybe they're going to do something for Charlotte. I like Charlotte. I think she's good.
She's coming back as the limousine ride, and it looks like.
Yeah, that should be
Care
interesting.
about this show.
Maybe.
Woo energy.
Woo energy.
Right on the
Woo
fucking
energy. Yeah,
canvas.
right in the center of the mat. Woo energy.
Woo wings.
Yeah, woo wings. A lot of woos. David, who do you think is an underrated Rumble winner? Like based on their whole career.
It's crazy to put them as like underrated, but it's like I feel like Rey Mysterio's win doesn't really get like just there.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people want to say it's like, oh, he only got it because Eddie Guerrero died. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I agree. What makes you feel like he's an underrated guy?
It's just like we don't. It's just like it went so under. Like I don't feel like he's underrated, but it's just like I don't even. I think we're so far removed from his win that it's like a lot of people don't remember that he won. Like I don't think if you. I think if you told like 25 and under, like, hey, like Rey Mysterio won a Rumble, they'd be like, what? He did?
Yeah. Like they wouldn't be surprised if like Rock or Stone Cold or someone like that won.
because when they were kids, it was already far removed from that. It was kind of like novelty, Sin Cara, that weird mid card, you know, whatever purgatory he was in from like 2010 to 14.
Yeah. I mean,
And then he
even I
was
feel like
away.
even now, kind of. I mean, I understand he's kind of in the twilight of his career,
Right.
so it's not like they're gonna put him in the main event all the time. But I kind of see what you mean. I mean, like like even at WrestleMania 22 when he had the match, it became like a triple threat
Yeah. And
for
like
the world title.
the whole program was like, you don't deserve to be here.
Right,
Kind of type
exactly.
vibes.
And I mean, I mean, even his
Exactly.
DVD was called like the biggest underdog or something like that. And yeah, I mean, he won the title. I think he won from John Cena and then like lost it in like a day to John Cena. Wasn't that same day too?
He won a tournament, and then at the end of it, John was like, "There's no way I lost."
Yeah,
And
because he had so he won the world heavyweight title. He won that title. Were there any other titles that he won, like big championships? That those are the only two, right?
did he have the belt anytime in like your guys' era of SmackDown?
I feel like he was like intercontinental, like he was doing like Chris Jericho, CM Punk. Man, I gotta look this crap up because this is gonna bother me. but to your point, I mean Rey Mysterio, I would put in that, and again, not because of like my own perception of him as an I don't think he's underrated either, but I think the perception of like the wrestling fans and the way he was booked didn't necessarily reflect like how we viewed him as a wrestler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Well, he's had 2 championship reigns.
So he's had the one at WrestleMania 22, and then that short-lived one against Cena.
He's
Or
had
you
2.
talking about world
He's
heavyweight?
had 2 big golds and 1 E.
Okay. When was the other gold one? But yeah, I mean that makes sense. I agree with that. Andres, what about you? Who do you feel like is the most underrated Rumble winner when you consider their whole career?
That's a hard one to be honest. Like I'm looking over this list and like I always end up just like agreeing with somebody else, but I'm like, what if I try to be different? But like I don't know. I mean, uh, I guess you know, you probably was said too, but probably Sheamus. I'd say because like really like you know you went from that to now you're it's been out there how long and now you're only like you're at the Intercontinental title like level right now, which is not saying anything bad either, but like it's just you're not in the main event anymore. You're not in that main circle, you know.
Yeah.
For run and stuff like that. And I do, you know, maybe in the future they can still get him to that point, but it's been so long that he's even been, you know, in that scene of the main card. Really,
I agree. I mean, that's what you make a good point because I mean, I made that joke about him being in that one hit wonder category, winning the Rumble. But I mean, as a winner of the Royal Rumble and just looking at his career and his matches and his consistency, I mean, I feel like you could put him in that underrated category because he's done a lot of good stuff. And I feel like he's getting his flowers now. Like there's a lot of appreciation for him now as a wrestler. I feel like it's more apparent now than it was before, in my opinion. So I think that's a good pick. Let me do a little fantasy booking, and this is kind of the next section. So I want you guys to think about Rumble winners and people who won. Is there like, let's say if there was like a final 2 or someone who won the Rumble in a specific year, let's say like maybe they weren't even in the final 2, but pick any year, any Rumble winner from any year, and that person won, replace them with somebody else. Who would you pick to win the Rumble that year instead of that specific person? So I think for the 2015 Royal Rumble, or not 2015, 2014? For 2014, I think I would give it to CM Punk. And this was obviously the last Rumble that he attended. I think that was his
day on the
last
job.
show. Yeah, I think that was when he was like basically like, I'm out of here. You know, ass end of his basically career. That's when he was sick. He was angry and whatever. I just wanted them to give him like a Rumble win and a main event. You know, so I felt like if I could rewrite something, I would give him a Rumble win, either that year or the year before, because maybe he's going to get it this year. Who knows? That's possible. And I know, and I'm on that boat too, where I'm like, well, does he need it? I mean, you could say the same thing for Cena. I understand you want to, build it for somebody else, but sometimes I just want to see that the one person who's never gotten it get it, in my opinion. But yeah, I think for like that 2013, 14, 2012 era, I would put CM Punk as the Rumble winner just because of that. Chris, who would you like if you could rewrite history? What Rumble winner would you replace, and who would you pick instead?
Have Triple H, John Cena.
Oh, he was the final one, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, because that was for me also peak hating John Cena. I would have rather seen that too. That would have been good. David, what about you? Who would you replace if you had a Royal Rumble winner you'd want to replace with?
Mox would have countered Triple H and thrown his ass out the ring.
Oh, 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good too. I mean, like, I don't understand why they wouldn't do that, honestly. Because Mox, Dean Ambrose, whatever you want to call him, he was popular. I don't understand why that wasn't. I guess maybe because of like the whole authority thing, but does Triple H need a 14th title reign? I don't know.
It was tried. There was another attempt to just get Roman over as a face,
That's true.
but
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Didn't work. That's a good one though. I didn't think of that. Andres, if you could pick any Rumble winner in all the land,
2013 Ryback again, baby.
you want right back.
Right back in the history books.
Yeah, dude. Put it where he
Rewrite
belongs.
that.
That big guy in the main event, dude. No, actually, the one I would pick would be. I think it was like when Sean was like basically hinting at the end of his career, and he's like, "I'm gonna win the Rumble," and like I need to win really bad. And I remember like he was like he got really close to the end. And I think Undertaker took him out.
2007 Royal Rumble,
That
which
one?
is
Okay.
which is actually my. Are you talking the one where Undertaker won the Rumble?
Yeah, he won. Yeah, taking out Sean. I think that would have been a very easy. If you can go back and switch it, how that would be, that'd be cool.
That was actually my favorite Rumble. Just like the like they were on two different brands, and then like they're basically the final two facing off each other, and that kind of triggered like what was going to happen in 2 years or whatever. And that was also where Undertaker started having those series of just like banger matches. Because when Undertaker won the Rumble in 07, he had that amazing match in versus Batista at WrestleMania 23. And I think, Undertaker won that. And again, he didn't need that Rumble win, but I thought that was great. Like what was he, like 14 years into his career at that point? I thought it was great. I thought it was good. And he was a great world heavyweight champion too. Like he really gave. I mean, Batista was great, but he also Undertaker. I mean, yeah. Like how can you deny that? I also saw Undertaker as the champ. He was at like a house show in 2010, I think. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, I looked up Rey Mysterio's second big gold ring.
Yeah, when was it?
He won a fatal 4-way with like Jack Swagger and whoever else. And then he lost it to Kane, cashing in his
Kane?
Kane cashed in his money in the bank on him.
I forgot about that.
And just to
that was
make
like
sure
mid
he was
2010s.
dead, he gave him a choke slam and a tombstone. Just to make
Yeah.
sure he didn't kick up.
Yeah. Do you remember how long that reign was? Did they say how
Like
long that
3 months,
title?
2 months.
I feel like he had nothing longer than like 3 or 2 months with the title belt. But yeah, I mean that's why I would be like underrated in the eyes of us because they didn't treat him like the champ he should be for WWE's standards.
I don't think Vince knew how to write in that format.
Mm-mm.
Like
No.
just good guy winning. Like I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think he knew how to write good guy winning. Like just in general. Like I think that was like a WCW or like a Triple H thing where they know how to write like good guy winning.
Well, I guess this kind of is a good question. Then follow up. What do you feel like? Are there any patterns that you notice, like how WWE books their Royal Rumble winners? Do you feel like there's a certain type of person that they go after? I don't know.
I feel like it's more of a like they're already top of the card. Just do
Yeah,
this for like final stamp of approval.
I'm curious. Like, what if do you feel like that'd be an interesting
Except
take
for
if they just
Taker.
like went the complete opposite, where it was like someone they didn't build up or anybody, and then they just won the Rumble? Do you think that would be an interesting idea?
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
At least like it would have to be somebody with like some.
Yeah, like an NXT guy or like a mid carder.
A few past, you know. Oh, we met at this kind of left.
Yeah,
All
I mean,
defending wins.
yeah, I mean, I feel like that'd be fascinating just because it has never been done before, and they could just try it like the 1 year. If they don't like it, then whatever. But I feel like, I understand you want to like plan things out, and this could be obviously planned out because they could, figure out what they do after that win. Like all the winners have been people who were in some kind of top feud in the past year or whatever, and it's people who like the usual suspects who you would expect. But I think it would be interesting to see like an Obafemi or I don't know, even an Ethan Page, or somebody like that, who is not even in the conversation in the Rumble, but shows up and then just somehow wins, and then you start the story from there. Like
that's another fantasy one tue. Sorry,
Ethan
but like
Page.
no, like AJ Styles the year he debuted.
Oh yeah. See, that's another one. Like, why wouldn't like I mean, he was also my Rumble draw that year, but like if he won, I mean, that'd be great. Like debuts, wins the Rumble. I mean, that was a perfect storm right there. But they didn't do it. So
They didn't even have the camera on the Tron when it said "I am phenomenal."
yeah. But yeah, well, I think that is a wrap for this episode of the Chi-Town Shoot podcast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate us, and leave your feedback. Tune in next time for more wrestling madness. Until then, keep marking out.